My name is Chip Dodd with Team ThisABILITY Adventure Racing.
I'm Andrea Anderson with Team ThisABILITY.
And we've done Expedition Africa twice now, and we're super excited about them hosting the 2023 World Championships at the Eastern Cape, South Africa. So Heidi and Stefan, why don't you introduce yourselves and tell us a little about Expedition Africa?
Heidi, you can go first.
Hi guys, I'm Heidi Miller, for those of you who don't know us, and yeah, the race director for Expedition Africa. Well, I don't know how much you guys want to know, but we've been doing this for too many years, I think, and this is our 11th race. Expedition Africa has been going for 11 years, but we've been much longer in adventure racing and organizing and racing. So yeah, 2023, we're excited. It's our 11th edition, and we're very grateful to be here, speaking to all the teams and ship and giving you more information and share with you more our passion and love adventure racing. Stefan?
Yes, hello, everybody. I'm Stefan Miller. I'm Heidi's husband, and I'm the co-race director. And I think we have a privilege in our country. In South Africa, we have 9 different provinces. And each of our 9 provinces looks very, very different. So we have an advantage, or what we say, a blessing, that we are able to, of the 11 Expedition Africa, 8 was inside our country, and then 3 was in neighboring states, and have a race in each province, and it looks different than the other province. So that is quite, it makes it quite exciting for us to go to a brand new area, which I haven't even, in 30 years of racing in Africa and organizing, haven't even seen 90% of the places.
So thanks for joining us. And so we've introduced Heidi and Stefan, and I'm Andrea, and this is Chip. But anyone else on the call right now, part of our purpose for doing this was to connect people that are doing the race, and especially maybe people that are interested in going from the US. So at the end of our time, we'll probably spend about an hour. At the end of our time, we'll probably open up to anyone who wants to stay that long and to introduce themselves at the end. So if you're interested in meeting some other folks, or you need a team, that's when we thought we'd do that. So just want to let you know to hang in there, and you'll get to introduce yourself too if you want to stay with us that long.
Yep, and a couple of little housekeeping things, because we've got a lot of new people that came in. If you can, stay on mute unless you needed to ask a question or something like that. We wanted to try to do our best to get through the content quick and then do questions at the end if possible. So write them down or put them in the chat. We'll monitor the chat. The other thing is Heidi and Stefan are in Africa, and what that means is the internet sometimes is not stable. So if they start glitching, we'll start talking and try to cover some of the topics we know about. We are recording this, so you guys will be able to see it later. We'll probably put it on our YouTube page, as well as Heidi and Stefan can put it on their social media. But we do want to get through a lot of content. So, okay, so I guess first off, just quick, like, did you guys ever think in your wildest dreams you would be hosting the World Championships of Adventure Racing in South Africa? I mean, how was that when you got, like, you're like, this is actually happening?
Stefan?
Yeah, look, it's been a long journey of racing, many years. And I think in 2000, I did the Eco Challenge in Borneo, and I came back and I just met Heidi, and I said, this is a sport that we should start doing. And that was in 2000. So it's been a long journey of organizing and racing, and now we are here. So yeah, we feel we're very privileged to be able to, to put something like this.
Awesome.
From our perspective, I think it's obvious, like, you would be doing a world championship just when, the 2 races we've done were spectacular. And so I'm not surprised at all, but you might have been surprised, back when you started. So what was it like when you began, and how long ago was it?
Well, we started in Expedition Africa first race was in 2011, and I remember it was basically at a time when, as a woman, where I felt I'm getting too old now, I need to start having children, and we made the change that I'm going to stop racing and start with a family. And then Stefan just walked into the house one day, and at that time the adventure racing scene was very low in South Africa, or there was quite a lot of change, and like we said, we started organizing races, but we never really, at that point in time, I never thought that we will organize an expedition race. And we just walked in and said, oh, why don't we organize a 500K adventure race? I always say to people, I never dreamt about it or thought of my wildest dreams, that's what I'm going to do as a career. I think I never thought much about it. I just said yes, and there we went. Had a, like kind of, I always said to people, had a baby. 4 months later, we organized the expedition race. We had no money, no sponsors. I don't even know how we did it. So I always say to new directors and people that, you know, just have the faith and just keep producing an excellent product. And just remember that you have to make mistakes and you have to walk this journey to grow into learning, and also sort of realizing what your customers or your people who's returning want and what you feel is also uniquely you. You know, all race directors are different, and your personality is definitely is in your event. Your personality will reflect itself, and just stay true to who you are. And just year in and year out, we kept on doing what we can. In Africa, it's also a little bit different. We can't just go and rent boats because nobody's got boats. And then you buy 10 boats. I always say to people, I don't have a new couch because I have to buy new boats.
Right.
You just start investing and continue growing and buy a new trailer and then another boat and another trailer, and you're building up the business, and you have good years and not such good years. But we've decided in 2012 to join a World Series. At that point in time, we knew we had to belong to an international platform to get more exposure in the world. And so we've been involved ever since. And, you know, every year just grew and grew. Also remember, in South Africa, we don't have so many teams. So for us to get 30 or 40 South African teams, that's a big number. For us in South Africa, we rely on need international teams. So for us to get, I think from 2013, the change came and we started getting 20 international teams and 30 international teams, and had consistently, you know, international teams keep on coming back, and new teams and word of mouth. And then, yeah, so Rodriguez then was in you guys were there, 2019. We had in Rodriguez, 70 teams. You know, Lesotho, we had over 50 teams. Obviously, a few people fell out of COVID. So in the last few years, we always hit those numbers of between, you know, 50 plus teams, and consistently. So yeah, very, very fortunate, very grateful. Just like, again, like what a blessing to be here where we are now. And yeah, now it's going for the big one.
So you're definitely experienced with having lots of teams come to your races, and they've been really successful. And Stefan said that there are a lot of different regions in South Africa. So why don't you tell us about where the race is going to be this time, and if you've had it there before, and what will be different than the other races that you've put on for this race.
Yeah, so the world champs are in the province in the eastern, one of our coastal provinces. We had a race there, Expedition Africa 2017, was in the same province, and we used this resort that you see on the screen. And that is, of all our years of organizing, attending, and racing, you know, races all over the world, it is definitely the best resort we've seen, because it's like a little haven. So you'd be like a family there. It looks small in the pictures, it's not that small. We can cater for a lot of people. Everybody lives on the beach. It's really a privilege to be hosted there. So in 2017, our race was just over 400 Ks. We sort of stayed within maybe maximum 50, 60 kilometers from the coast. That's our scenario. There's a lot of linear mountain ranges running parallel to the coast in this area. And this year, we obviously be bussing the people out very far away, and we go as far as about 300 to 400 kilometers inland from the coast. So the most important thing in a route like this is to make sure that every leg has got a different look and feel. So that is obviously our goal. It's not always easy to get it, but each leg should have a highlight, and you want to see that each leg looks different than the one before. So we have, on the trekking legs, we have the coast. We have rocky coast, we have obviously sand dune coast, We have beach, you know, and then we have on cycling, we have sort of moving to a semi-desert area. We have 2 big mountain bike stages over mountains. And then on the trek leg, we go mountain one. We have lots of canyons. So I think each leg is going to be very different. The kayak is there's only 1 kayak leg on next year's race, and that is on a flowing river. So there will be a dark zone there, but it will be only sort of in the middle race, a day 2 to day 3. So it's a strategy. But remember, it's October, so in Africa we have a little bit more sunlight, about 13, 14 hours. So that is sort of but it's very different than what I would say the last 30, 40, 50 kilometers will be similar of something we did in 2017, just because we get closer to the result.
So something that's been different in the races that we've been to is like what the TAs might look like. Like in Lesotho, they were still really remote, but in Rodrigues, it was a little more populated the TAs. What are the transition areas going to be like in the World Champs next year?
Yeah, so the transition areas, obviously, we have now quite a large amount of teams that indicated that they would like to come. So obviously, that is vital for us to make sure that that the facilities are big enough to handle this sort of numbers. And luckily, one thing we have in Africa is we got plenty of we have plenty of space, so that helps a lot. But our transitions, when we started in 2011, all our transitions are in some sort of structure. We don't do transition just out in the field. We have you know, always at some sort of resort or some sort of a facility where there's bathrooms, boiling water, close to food. And then obviously later transitions, there's enough places to either sleep in more of a communal space or sleep, you know, obviously if you want to up it a bit and you know, sort of, you know, pay for something more fancier. Although the route is very, very remote, there's very few people in the area. But the transitions are definitely should be a haven for when you need to come in. And I think in this leg, we're now at about, I think we have about 9 legs. So we have about 7 or 8 transitions. So most of the transitions are something to look forward to. And because the legs are long, it's vital that we have that. We have something to eat. We have all the, you know, facilities that you need at that specific stage. Yeah.
Now, we had a comment that it was a bloody awesome race in 2017. This area is beautiful and will wow all of your senses. So is there any specific like highlight of the course that you just can't wait to tell? Like in Lesotho, you had the big waterfall. We knew we were going to see that. We were excited about it. Is there anything like that that's just amazing?
I don't know. You know what is important in a race, and people will hopefully agree with me, and when they come experience it. I think we as race directors need to get excited about the area. They're very important for us. I need inspiration I draw my inspiration from the area. And it is for me, again, like in Lesotho, I don't know about you guys, but I got a humbling feeling in Lesotho. The vistas in the mountains, it was big and incredible. And it just got that feeling of vastness and openness. And you truly emerge into nature. Like and in this race, again, when we scouted this route, I mean, you can look there at these pictures. I just got that feeling like sometimes when we scouted and we filmed it and we went to different venues and stuff to get different scenes, but these are all sort of sections in the race. I got that feeling of, wow, you know, like it actually touched my own heart when I go there and I'm like, wow, how can I show this to people? And I hope they're going to feel the way I'm feeling about it, you know, about what I'm seeing. And I know when I get that feeling, I mean, look at that. When I stood there, I was like, wow, can I just show this to people? I mean, this is incredible. And I think every leg, and I think that's what Stefan just said, every leg has those moments where I think personally, you know, if you can just lift your head and you can just look, you will be blown away. I mean, for us, and it's very vast, I must be honest. It is really a lush scene, lush of green and pretty to desert. I mean, the one leg to the next leg, you're going to ask me, am I in the same country? And I think that's what excites me because, yeah, I mean, Chip, you'll come see next year and you can tell me. But it's touching, yeah. That is touching. Am I saying the right thing, Stefan? Is there anything else you want to add? I mean, I don't want to give too much away,
sorry.
but
I think a highlight, which is not the answer you're gonna expect, is the stars at night is astounding. Look, October is a little bit of a, we're having a lot of rain in South Africa at the moment, but not that area doesn't have much rain. But it does get cloudy over October. But the stars, it's just, when you're out there, I think the uniqueness of this race, where Lesotho was all communal land. So basically it's owned by the country. Nobody owns theoretically their own land. In this race, I would say, other than the cycling, we obviously use more sort of, you know, connecting roads, which is not most of them, but half of them is probably public. But doesn't get used much, so they small roads. But in the trekking legs, 90% of most of the areas are private land, and it's very big pieces of land, and it's a huge amount of game in the area. So obviously the game farms that's got the buffaloes and stuff on. I mean, in 2017 we went through the Baviaans. We're going through the Baviaans again, which is one of the biggest natural heritage sites in the world, which is an amazing area. The Baviaans, we're not going through that part, don't worry.
Okay. That's the safety part of this conversation. Right?
Yeah, no, you will on the first day, if you get your timing right, you should maybe not you might see a rhino. I think on that me and Heidi saw a rhino on that leg, but obviously on the other side of the fence, and you are. So if you do get a game fence, just make sure you know where you are on the map. Don't climb a game fence, especially if you don't know what's on the other side. But the main thing is obviously the areas where we are going is obviously buffaloes, which is the biggest concern. But we don't go into those areas. But there's a lot of game farms, and even the game farms that don't have the buffaloes have got a massive amount of game. So we're going to use a lot of that. That section of the race, we're probably only about 20% into scouting all the nice bits in there. But it's that I would say it will be a highlight, all of these areas.
All right, so let's touch on the technical details. Let's say that for the navigators on the call, can we get into describing the maps, the scale, the top of the size of the maps, how many? Just I know we can't hold you to it, we're a year away, but just what's your style as a race director? Are the maps going to be detailed, or are we dealing with something that's, you know, that's really shoddy? Just like what should we expect?
So you've done 2 races. You've done Rodriguez race where we actually drew the whole map from scratch. Then you raced in Lesotho where we worked with British maps dated in the late 60s. But the one thing in South Africa, we might not get everything right, but our maps are very up to date. So we're working with about between 2017 and 2020 updated maps. The year has been updated. So everything is on there. But remember, also our style is different. The beauty of adventure racing is you have many race directors with many different ideas, many exotic places, and it must be kept that way. We don't want to come into a scenario where it's like an Ironman where every race is exactly the same. So that is the beauty of the sport. So our style is definitely more the traditional sort of long expedition races, less points, sort of rather have 30 kilometers between points, but gives you a lot of route choices than actually doing sort of micro navigation orienteering style. So the weight of navigation should be equal to the weight that you have skills for kayaking down a river and cycling, and that there shouldn't be the defining factor in making you successful. So we try and keep a balance between the 4 main disciplines of adventure racing. So the maps are very good. And obviously we don't have compulsory and mandatory points and those things. You get every point. If you can't get a point, you just basically downrank you a little bit of a team who did get everything. But obviously there is many choices that you can sort of skip a point if you want to. But we're only talking really about the sort of back teams or teams are in trouble, you know, from a health point of view. And then we have 2 what we call sort of a cut-off times, but it's sort of late in the week, where if you haven't reached a certain transition, then we sort of reroute you, and that reroute is an adventure on its own. So definitely the reroute is not a sort of just get the guys home, let's forget about these people. Now we're only focusing on the front teams. I think the reroute, maybe that route is even better than the other route. But I mean, there's massive mountain ranges. I'm not talking about massive in size, but it's just, it's real wilderness, but it's all private lands. Obviously a lot of fences, but you won't actually really be, climbing through a lot of fences. Nothing on the cycle leg, for example, but yeah, that probably answers your question.
Yeah, that's good. And
sorry, the maps are 1 to 50,000 yards, and we're going to use A3 size maps. A lot of them.
They're of course waterproof, right?
No, they're not waterproof. No. So basically, they're not waterproof. So you obviously use a map bag or use a Ziploc bag to keep it waterproof. But remember our maps, I mean, the way you're going to move through the maps, it's not going to, waterproof won't be a real problem. It's not a tropical country. We don't expect much rain. We're not doing any sea paddles. Remember, we only give you a map as you arrive at transition. So example, when we bus you out to the start, that's when you get your first map. And every transition, you'll get another map, another set of maps. Each team gets 2 sets of maps, which is included. If you take it or not, it's there. But it's not waterproof. But we never really found we might look into it. We actually have discussed it. But it's never really been a problem in South Africa. On A4 maps, by the time you finish on that map, I mean, if it's wet, you're wasting, you maybe spilled your water bottle on it or something. But you got 2 sets. So I don't think it's a real concern. But we did discuss it, and let's investigate it, because that's probably the way to go. Yeah.
So in the Lesotho on the paddle section, we got the map wet, and we're trying to do the end of it by memory. So do bring a map bag or laminate it or something. But,
yeah.
Okay.
I do think, Chip, I do think you will get wet in this kayak leg. So yeah, you will.
We'll do that. Yeah, we'll have waterproof maps for the kayak leg.
Perfect. You want to do culture?
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about the culture that we're going to experience while we're racing, but also what's it like just in the cities as well? Like, just from both perspectives, once we're out on the race and then leading up to the race, what culture can we expect starting from when we get to the airport?
So we call it the PE airport. So teams should fly into Johannesburg, Oliver Tambo. We're hoping that there's more flights opening up so that teams will just keep on checking. They announced a lot of new flights coming to South Africa in January time. And we're hoping, especially for the South American teams and American teams, that there's maybe options to Cape Town. And then from Cape Town, if you look at the bottom there, Cape Town, you need to fly to Gqeberha. This is the new name, Gqeberha. It's actually a Gqeberha, if they say it like that. It was the old PE. And if you land there, remember, we collect all of the teams. All of the international teams will be collected at the airport. And we will, you see there, you can do Port Elizabeth. So now, if you want to stay in Port Elizabeth, that is, I mean, it is our Ironman city, our Ironman capital in South Africa. So you can Google it, you can stay there, but you can also from there, maybe if you want to come before, head to some game reserves. And I advise all teams to speak to me about sort of their onward travel, and I can advise them what to do. Or, I mean, you need to get to the resort. You travel around an hour and a half down. There's Cape St. Francis. We call it a village. It's a very small, middle 2 towns next to each other. You actually will see there, you look at Cape St. Francis and St. Francis. So we are there. Cape St. Francis is a beautiful beach in front of us. You can see that. Beautiful lighthouse. So from it's interesting that you showed on the map like this. From here, where we are at Cape St. Francis, you basically just go to St. Francis a little bit backwards, and these 2 villages are basically connected. For international teams, you can actually just get onto your mountain bike, and you can head up, go up to the port side. You'll see there's a port hotel. There's a little road through the nature reserve, and you can head into town, and you can get there. All the bike shop, there's a bike shop, there's a spa, a pharmacy, doctors, everything is in this little village. So it is so convenient. You don't actually need a car, you need nothing. You can just come and be like 15, 20 minutes away from everything. Now, if you look up, you're on the maps, it's actually awesome. You will see this in front of airfields. Now go up a little bit there, you'll see like we call it a township village establishment area. And there at Sea Vistas, actually you went up. In that area is where we're going to do the community project. We no, a little bit down, you're up too high. But anyway, we'll get back to that. There you can see the canals on the Crom River. Everything is connected. But on the go more left, you'll see left on the road. Yeah, there's that village. Can you actually see that? You can't see, it doesn't look like a village. On the right, there's like a lot of houses together. Now that Dune Country Reach is also, teams can stay there. We will also book up that, we reserved already that country house also for teams to stay. But this village here, you can see, this is where a lot of people are staying. And this is where I'm planning the community project. And the skateboard park, we are planning to get the ground and build something there for the generations later to really something durable, something we can, be part of our legacy that we've raised funds for, we've built it, and so that is part of our community project. So it's very small, it is a small village. Like Stefan say, in here there's some people, but I mean, if you actually go out into the route, you're not going to see a lot of people. We have different tribes and cultures here. The local tribes are Xhosa. They actually call it Xhosa, the Xhosa tribe. And if you all know in South Africa, we have many tribes in South Africa, many different cultural groups, a lot of different languages, but they are the original group of this area. And you will see in all my artwork and in all the things we do, I always do the event with, bring in this culture. And we will make sure that you have this whole experience from when you arrive. We will bring in some singing and dancing, and we're bringing them in from the local towns to be part of our event and showcase to you their traditional clothing. You will actually see in all my presentations, I always wear the traditional kind of clothing of what they wear, yeah. And in the event, we will also make sure like all our staff and all our people will be traditionally dressed. You will also see on the route maybe a lot of Afrikaans, like I said, speaking people. And yeah, if you see people, so yeah, there's a variety of different tribes and people you see. I don't know where you're going to be, and if you go through little towns, but you'll definitely see different tribes, different languages. Yeah, of course, Africa is Africa. You like I said, you're going to embrace everything in Africa. Remember, for the teams on this group, we have, like Stefan said, we have electricity problems, we have power problems in South Africa. So you might come here and have every 2 or 4 hours not electricity. That's something that can happen. You might come here and we have some time, there's not enough water actually. We have like maybe water cuts. There's little things like that which you might also experience, and we will, tell everybody just embrace what you're gonna, get here. We don't even know a year from now what we're gonna have and experience. One thing I need to tell everybody, when we did the scouting, we realized that in the small towns, if the electricity, if the power is off, you don't even have internet signal. But I'm not talking about Wi-Fi and internet. You can't even call. We don't even have. Oh my goodness! Wait. I can just switch this off. But so we have times when we can't even make a mobile call. So it does won't affect the team. They're going to race, but it's definitely going to affect us and the media teams and our logistics. And we'll have to have people on the outside to have eyes on the event. But I mean, it sometimes might not even work because I might be in a zone where we don't have power, and then Stefan might be in another zone. So we will have our own challenges with the event, but that comes with when you organize races in more third world countries.
So what I'm hearing is a lot of different languages, a lot of different people, really small communities. We won't see many people once we're on the race. Electricity might come and go, and we might encounter some wildlife. So a lot of that sounds a little bit scary. So what kind of safety things do you have in place, or anything we actually need to be really worried about? I mean, inconveniences aside, we should expect that being international travelers. But is there anything we should be aware of that we should watch out for? And what safety precautions should we take, and are you guys taking on our behalf?
I would always say, just make sure you're not the first team and make sure you're not the last team. No,
I say that all the time.
look, it is big five. It's big five country. So within the also with the resort, east and west of it, within an hour, you either get to the famous Garden Route. We actually had a 2016 race there. Garden Route is, you can Google that. It's an amazing place to go within an hour and a half drive. And then obviously if you go east, you can obviously within an hour be in a public a national park where you can see the big five from your car. And also you can then, if you want to up the budget, you can go to private resorts, which is 7 to 8 star probably, where you can sort of, you know, look inside the lion's mouth type of thing from your Ranger vehicle. But that is within an hour and a half. And I mean, it could mean for a slower team that thinks, look, you got 9 days, the route is open. The slower team who think they're going to race 8 hours, you can basically drive from the resort. You don't need your own car. It can be organized for you. You can take your own car. It's safe. Do a day drive, see all the big five and return. You can then obviously sleep one night. For the faster teams who finishes on the Tuesday morning or that, they can do a 2-3 day safari if game is your thing. But this is the place to see the game. No malaria. It is shorter distance. It's not like the Kruger Park, which is in the north of our country, where the distances are vast. You had to take a few days to, you know, just to drive. There you can see everything in close proximity. And then on the route, obviously we pass a lot of these areas, but you'll never see, the only big five you'll see is someone that, you know, if they maybe jump over the fence or something, but it's highly unlikely that never happens. But you will see definitely a very good chance you'll see elephants from your bicycle, but they will be the other side of the fence. And then in the areas where we actually do go through sort of private game farms, then there's the normal sort of buck, giraffe, zebra, and obviously there's the area is full of leopards. There's thousands of leopards, but leopards don't attack you, so not yet. But so that's not a problem. So I think the only maybe thing, getting warmer in South Africa, and our warmest month in the area is sort of January, February. It starts getting warmer in October, but in November, from now onwards, it starts getting more warmer, more like January, February. It's obviously snakes. But I mean, we've done many smaller weekend races in this area, our 24-hour races, and I don't think I've maybe seen one snake, if I ever seen a snake. But they are there. But that's more in those sort of coastal areas. And yeah, there's nothing really that we're not doing a sea paddle. So because obviously at the moment the great whites are a big thing in Africa, so for some reason. It is very there's a lot of them, but we're not doing a sea paddle. Africa seas, we've learned in 8 expeditions that was on our coastline. I think we had maybe of the 8 we probably the sea paddles we might have only paddled twice in the sea, and that was we nearly wrote off half the teams. So sea paddle in Africa, you wake up in the morning, you decide I'm paddling today. You don't plan it years ahead, so there's no sea paddle, yeah. So there's nothing really, and also obviously South Africa has got the reputation, from a safety reputation. Remember, we're not close to any big cities. That area is very relaxed. I mean, I can't see any problems there. There's nothing on the news or anything. So I wouldn't be. I'm not concerned at all. And remember, obviously, with all these aspects, the teams have to trust us. They have to trust us that we know what you want and what is reasonable, safe for you, and so on. So I don't see any concerns for supporters who want to rent their own car. No problem. You can rent your own car. You can drive, wherever you want, even at night, even at day. So obviously, some of the areas on the route you cannot drive because of you need a 4-wheel drive, and then obviously there's restrictions when we look at team media. We talk about team media later. We can talk about that, but nothing that comes up that you have to worry about. Maybe just another team that wants to beat you or something.
And I guess in all your races, I think all teams will have a spot tracker. They have the ability to press an emergency button and get some response. How is cell coverage, just in case the team had an injury or something? Is there none, or is it pretty good throughout that area?
Cell coverage are very good, but we have a, how can I put it? We have an Africa phenomena. So we have cell phone towers all over the country when runs on batteries. And obviously when the power goes out, we have a slight energy crisis in our country. Then it has to run on batteries, but the batteries do get removed on a quite a regular basis for further sell it on, you know. So
Right.
it might the battery. So that's probably the concern there. But the power outages is not how can I say it? It's known. So there's a schedule. You know that there's 2 hour powers out. If it's out, and I will tell you it's between 8 and 10 in the morning, and it's very strict on that. So it's not like you won't have power. You'll know exactly when there's no power. So the cell phone is fine. But remember, on your with your team, you have the cell phone. Obviously, it's sealed. But on your spot tracker, remember, we run our tracking from Australia. So it doesn't matter what happened on the route. There we have full internet, and we control it from that side. If anything goes wrong, they contact us. So yeah, that should be fine. And remember, you are remote, but you're always on private land. So you're always probably within maybe the furthest you're from a residence is maybe 20 kilometers. It might not be a straight walk to get there, but there is people in the area. Few, but there's a lot of farms. So there's a lot of cattle and game. And obviously where the river flows, there's a lot of grain and that. So there is a lot of farms. Even on the river, when you paddle, you will see nothing. But if you climb out of the river and you walk 300-400 meters, you'll find a farm. But you won't see it in the water, but they are there. Yeah.
So we had a question come through. Oh, sorry, Heidi.
Yeah.
Go on.
No, I saw the questions, but I think I just want to add 2 things. We because of the remoteness of the race and water at certain sections might be a problem, we will judge the water flow of the rivers and supply. So that kind of thing will indicate in the map where you can collect water. We will definitely need to bring in water into the route. So we are looking at that, because some of the legs are just too long and you will run out of water and you will not find water. So water will definitely be a thing on this race, to look after yourself and make sure you can reach that point to get the water. And then the other thing is, I just saw one of the question, medical support, and we have wonderful and amazing medics and services in South Africa. We have a team, like you guys will know, even in the Lesotho. Because of the remoteness of this race, we have to put a medical team at each transition, and they will move forward onto the race. So you basically will just need to reach the medics. If it's an incident or something happening in between the legs, it's just like Stefan said, you have to call us, find us, but there are hospitals, everything will be lined up. We'll have helicopter service on standby. All of those things are the regular things we always do. Medical stuff in the max 2 to 3 hours from. Oh yeah, there's Stefan is answering on the side. Yes, no, open paddle. But yeah, for the teams, people are doing it for the first time. Really know that we operational in Africa, you know, like for American teams and people that are scared to travel. Remember, this is where we function for so many years. And our medics and everybody function. We work out of forest to hospital. We, you know, like Stefan will indicate to you on the maps, where's the escape route, where's a shortcut, or where is, like he just said, where is people living. We have the community and the farmers of this area. Remember, we are begging and asking kindness of these private landowners to connect the one farm to the next farm. I think that's why our scouting takes so long. This is not like what you are known in America. You go to a park, you get the permission from a big maybe forestry or park to go. This is where I go and drink tea and coffee and kindly ask a farmer, please, can 400 people come over your land? And I promise you they won't they will close the gates, they will not break your fences. You guys know that we ask our teams as well if they see a farmer, and people just, these people are amazing. So there will be farmers and people on the roads looking out for you guys. And I know for a fact they will take people into their houses. They will even give the back teams escape route or a lift. And we just need to educate them and say, no, don't help the people, you know, like they're fine.
Even if they beg.
Maybe
And
the teams need to be educated there.
So one
don't
safe.
worry, you know, you don't worry about this. We are very hospitable, if I can say, South African people, and people where you go is, if you can speak a bit of Afrikaans, you will be over away. But we prepare everybody that you guys are coming, and yeah, it will be regarding safety and all of that. It will be fine.
Okay, so one more safety question. We'll move on to more of the fun stuff. So in some adventure races, of course, the disciplines are actually a little dangerous. For example, class 3 whitewater, or there's a rock climbing section or a section of boulder scrambling where you got to wear your helmet because if you go off the trail, you're rolling down a hill. So is there anything inherently dangerous that you foresee on the course that we need to be aware of?
Or that we need to skill up for?
Or that we need
Yeah, we have confirmed. We have one abseil. It's just under 50 meters. So we can use a figure of 8 and we don't have to use any other devices. We don't like going over 50. And there probably will be 8 ropes at that section. It's probably about 300 kilometers in the route. Then there's another section where there's a canyon where I have only gone up to a sort of a waterfall and I haven't been able to do the rest of it. So they might, if what I can see and what I see, I don't think there'll be a rope work, but there might be sort of a jump into a pool, but we're looking at maybe 2 meters, 3 meters, and you can probably lower yourself into it, but you can't come from the bottom. So I wasn't able to get up there on my own. So I have to come from the top. And that's sort of that side. The river that we paddle on is sort of grade 2, maybe grade 3, but you can't do it at night. So there will be a dark zone, unfortunately, there. But I think it will, the way where it is in the race, it will play a lot of tactics because the front teams will obviously push forward to get there without sleeping. Back teams know they won't, and if you miss it, then you have to sleep again before you get to the finish. So I think it will play a lot into tactics. The back teams just sort of just get what you get, you know. But nothing there. But there is weirs and stuff on that thing, which, well, yeah, if you do it at night, it's a one weir where you have to portage, but it will be well marked. So that, yeah, and then obviously the normal stuff. You fall off your bicycle. There's some of those mountain bike areas are extremely remote. If you do fall off your bicycle, and you can't, we'll have to come fetch you. It could take a while. So that sort of thing, I think that in the semi-desert areas, obviously no problem, but you'll get up to big speeds there. That's why also if you look at distance, we don't really put so much on distance because obviously people see distance as something. Remember, we work on hours. So in Lesotho, 450 k's in Lesotho is probably the same as over 700 in this area. You know, so I mean, Lesotho, what we did, 125-kilometer cycle, and it took the top team nearly 50 hours. But there's nothing like that in 1,000 meters. So it's a much flatter route. So distance is relative. So we work on time.
Cool. No, that's super helpful. That's the type of thing, just if we're going to ship 300 pounds of gear across the planet, it's nice to know this stuff just to give us a little bit more idea of what to expect. So let's get on to some of the more fun stuff. The dot watching, the media. You guys do an amazing job in the past races, and both of you also were a big part of World Championships in Paraguay with the live streams and all that. So what can teams expect? What can their friends and family expect if they have their own media person? What supports you providing for them? Like, just how is that going to play out?
I'll answer part of this and then see if I can also say it, but team media is welcome. I think we were one of the first races, I don't know how many years back, to open it up, and when we opened it up, there was quite a lot of talk about it when we said we invite team media, come and follow, because we know that if you have a team media person following you, or even if it's transitions, our marketing and media is just growing. So we are just needed to regulate it over the years. We realized that we had to put in some rules and regulations of where the media can go and what they can do, not do. So for all of you, we do extensive route book and planning for our media. We give them maps, we tell them where to go. We take hours on a media briefing with your media person. They sign a confidentiality agreement. So there's a whole thing going into the media. We scheduled, if you look on our program on our website, you will see that we trying to put all the information we can. And as we start confirming more things, we will add it in. You can look at our schedule. You'll see there is a volunteers briefing. You'll see when it's the media's briefing, all those scheduled. And we actually give everybody, they have to sign up with us, tell us they're coming. We need to find out where they're staying, what is their plans, are they renting a car? So we do big communication with the media, but please remember they are welcome to come and we welcome them as part of our team. So that is for team, that is questioning regarding your team media, and Stefan will exactly tell them where they're allowed to go and where they are not allowed to go. So we do regulate it, and we have specifically rules, especially at night and certain roads, what they can and not do. That same rules kind of apply for if you have family coming, or family is just supporting you. So most of the questions I've got thus far was family and the wife and the children maybe just want to sit at the resort and be at the beach. So we'll leave, they fine. But if there is people who you want to bring with and they want to rent a car and follow you, again, I will communicate with them where they can sleep, how can they do it. So we look after them and really they welcome. Last thing, just our media. We're obviously going to go on a massive media campaign for next year. We're very excited about it. And we will, of course, have our live tracking. Our live tracking is very good. We'll obviously zoosh it up and look into the latest and newest and best technology and investigate all the other options in the world. We will also then again have part of our World Series. We're going to have a dedicated team following the American teams, a dedicated team following the South American teams. We're going to have reporters and a media team following Europe. So we're going to divide it up into to the world and then get those additional media following those teams and giving them more information. And as well, having those sessions you guys do so well, where people who are sitting at home can just tap into the tracking and have sessions where they explain maybe to family and friends, where are people, how fast are they moving, what is the first teams doing, that kind of. So we really just said all the avenues of media, and we will maximize it and put it together with, of course, a massive media team. Of course, we are filming it for TV. So yeah, it is quite an extensive media team. We also have local journalists in South Africa from tourism, and so it is a massive media campaign we are running with multiple cars. And because this is a linear route, it is not circles. So again, maybe when you speak about logistics, I've actually just again realized today, oh my goodness, what a big job it is for Stefan for logistics. But which is a great question, next question or so, but media will have to, they can't go back on the route. It's like, there's no way that you can go back. It is far driving, it's hectic. It is big, it's a big course. And like I said, when you do linear, you can't go back, you have to go forward. But the reason why we love linear is like, it is true expedition style racing. It is you going forward and you really get that feeling of it's big. And I think when you're going to reach the second leg, you're already going to feel, wow, what have I done already? So yeah, so media is big, logistics are big, and we're really going to just try our best to film and capture all of it on our World Series, on Expedition Africa, YouTube, and just use all the channels we have to maximize the event.
Yeah, I think you guys also have a Instagram channel that you put a lot of photos and stuff on during your races. So there's definitely no shortage of ways to follow any race in Africa for sure.
It's like Instagram and Twitter, and the moment we add all those other avenues, it's just so much more people and staff to look after all that channels. But it's exciting and it's wonderful to try our best.
Yeah.
So next up, we're kind of getting into the more, well, we're down to like 10 minutes or so to keep it down to about an hour for the main content. A lot of people are going to bring their families to this, especially if they're traveling international. So describe some of the things or some of the things the families could be doing while their teams or loved ones are out racing, but also describe the volunteer opportunities if a family does want to work at a TA for a while or be part of the race. What are the opportunities that the non-racing family has?
Because if you go to on our website and you look at the date and time section, basically you'll see there's 4 different briefings there other than the athletes briefing. So we have a volunteer briefing. We obviously, you know, we provide everything for them. We have a team media briefing, separate from our media briefing, and we have a spectator or supporter briefing. And for those supporter and volunteer supporter and team media, you have to register. So before the race, you'll see with the welcome letters will go out next week to all the teams. You have to register because I prepare for you as a supporter. You'll have a spot on the table, you'll get a set of maps, and everything will be put out for you. So obviously, the only thing we can't tell you is where can you sleep every night. We can't tell you where it is. So what we do is we will obviously, once you go to race and time, dates and times, that one, go down there where you see the briefing. So somewhere down there, media.
Tuesday.
10 o'clock, media, it's Wednesday morning. So we have that team media and supporters briefing. So you have to pre-register with me, and I'll have a race pack with your name on it, and I will then basically work out for you where you sleep every night. The only thing is you won't know where that is. So I will tell you night 1, this is where you sleep. Are you with a fast or a slow team? This is your option. This is how much it costs. Remember, we're in Rand. South African Rand at the moment, the dollar is nearly 19 Rand. So it's giving it away in South Africa. So we can plan your whole week for you, all your nights. The only thing you have for somebody asking, you need to have your own car. So obviously at the resort, we'll have people can cycle to the shops, but we'll have shuttles running up and down from the shops. That's 3 days prior. But the supporter rent a car. You cannot rent a car at Cape St. Francis. You have to rent it at the airport, but it's not expensive. So, that is the way to get around. Same for the team media. You have to be self-sufficient, and I will book everything depending on your all our transitions have accommodation. We already booked it. We know how many we can sleep there as we go along in the race. Obviously, the accommodation options get smaller. There is a few towns that you will pass as a supporter and a media, team media, which the teams won't pass, which in close proximity. So if our plan doesn't work or you decide you want to do something else, there's plenty of ample spaces like that there. And then so you need a car, definitely, to rent one in PE for that week or 2, or you can always take you closer to the start. We can obviously also go pick up a car for you there if you don't want that car for 3 days. Then for people who's obviously not following the team like a team media every minute, like more families and people who want to see the game farms, you can basically, see the race and see the purpose, team in the morning, and then take a 5-hour break, a couple of lions, and then pop out and see the team again. And there's many of those places. A lot of historic towns in that area. And when we get into the wilderness areas, that is just the landscape, the rock formations, that is just purely amazing. So I think there's a lot of driving, safe driving. But we will plan your whole week for you. So you don't have to worry. We will plan it for you. And the only thing, like I say, we can't tell you what's the place name where you can sleep, but we'll make sure if we know there's 10, sort of 10 groups of people for slow teams, we'll make sure we'll tell you this is where you must, we'll make the booking for you. You can just pay them with your credit card when you're there.
Very good. That's super helpful. So a couple other things. Congratulations. I think you basically sold out or very close to selling out within the first 24 hours of the race. So so hopefully everybody that wanted to go at least got a team. But for those people who want to go, but they don't have a team or they missed the registration, do you guys have any way of playing matchmaker for athletes to figure out a team that they can see if they're a good fit for? And then is there, let's say, for example, a team has to drop out because of COVID or government or something. Do you have like a waiting list for teams that really want to go, but they missed registration?
Yeah, so for our entry system is not maybe like the other races. So basically, we see it as a sort of expression of interest system that we have. There's no payment due at the moment. And then obviously in our welcome letter now, because we over, I don't know where we are, because as I'm sitting here, the entries are coming in still. Obviously, payment is now securing the entry. All right. So basically, how that works. So we have a policy. If you're not sure, if you're not sure about coming, don't pay now. You have to pay us before February. The thing is now, because we have many teams, that obviously puts a little bit of pressure on everybody. So that sort of thing. Everybody has to pay before February. And that will definitely secure your price. Unfortunately, that if you have a refund, anything up till end of May, you will unfortunately lose 20% to cover our admin fees to organize this. But the rest you guarantee until the 1st of May. And then after the 1st of May, then obviously, then you have to make another plan. You can sell it. It's got nothing to do with us, the selling of it. We can facilitate it, we'll help it. But obviously it's between you and the next team. And that normally I would say 99, but Lesotho, obviously we had a bit of a, nobody knew how that can happen. So we have a few obviously teams that we couldn't sort of make happy with sort of that system because our event was cancelled 2 weeks, postponed 2 weeks before the race. But I mean, that was a rarity, and I think it's a rarity all over the world, the COVID situation. But in general, I don't think we always managed to find another team for a team who couldn't come at a close time. And then, so, yeah, that's of the refund. And as soon as you pay, you obviously secure. What was the other question?
Team,
Are you gonna like?
team?
Oh, sorry. Say again, Heidi.
Sorry,
Yeah, and then on our website, same website, there's already a find a team section. I think we got about 4 or 5 names already on there. And that has also been, over the last 10, 15 years, been very, very successful. I would say rarely we get into a race where we don't clear that list.
Yeah, we used it. We were very happy that you had that on there. I think it was Rodriguez. Yes. We had 2 teammates have to drop for reasons out of their control. We went to your website. We were able to find the people. We interviewed them, tried to find some people that were a good match. We had an amazing experience crossing the finish line from 2 people that didn't know each other. We met them 24 hours before the race. But just, you know how adventure racers are. I mean, most people are very nice. And as long as you make sure your team goals are in line, you can get a good match, even if it's somebody you've never met other than on a Zoom. One other thing in the States, I know we had originally said this kind of a directed at United States folks, but just anybody who wants to go and do a big race anywhere in the world. Here in the States, we have a teammate finder. Like instead of blowing up the adventure racing discussion group with your one question about finding a teammate, like we've got this, did my screen share? Are you guys able to see the Facebook? Sorry, let me do stop share. Let me try this one more time. We have a teammate finder, there it is, and share. So it's like a Facebook group. It's for if you're trying to find a teammate for any race, not just Expedition Africa, but that way it keeps kind of the chatter about finding teammates off the main discussion groups and things like that. So hopefully whatever country you're from, you can kind of set up the same type of thing. But again, as long as you guys have it on your website, I think that's probably the primary thing of anybody that's showing an interest, and then do your own interviews on the side. Well, we're coming up at the end of the hour. We did, for everybody that we had a lot of people coming in during this, we were gonna like have Heidi and Stefan do the main content and try to keep it to an hour, but then afterward we can keep the Zoom going for a little bit, turn off the recording. And if anybody wants to chat about who's going or do some matchmaking, we could talk about that too, or keep kind of the questions going. But before we stop the recording, do you guys have any final thoughts, things you want to share about the race? From
my side, I think it's important just to tell everybody that as race directors, and I know there's more race directors from this group and everybody, it is first of all for us a blessing to, 100 teams was our target in the group, and we opened it up to more, and we've upped it up now again, and we said like 120 were cut. But we obviously try to accommodate everybody. So if you really want to race, you have a friend or somebody who wants to come, like Stephen said, they can email us and we will just keep on, even if somebody drops out, put them in kind of thing. So we're just really grateful, because I think it's not only us, for us to have built up this kind of reputation or, history of experience is because of people who support us year in and year out. And there's been teams who always come back. And that is what it's all about. It's not only us, we may be the 2 people who take the risk and have the dreams and start the project, but we have incredible photographers and volunteers over the world, and people and families just coming and offering us services. Everybody's just WhatsApping me and say, Heidi and Stefan, whatever you want, we're coming to help, be there. And so first of all, to our South African teams who've been supporting us over the years, it's incredible. And then of course our international teams who keep on trusting and believing is that we're going to create this bubble of a world, which is place where you should not remember anything back at home. And that week, that 10 days when you're at our race, I want to create a space where you just forget about your normal life that is, I think, ultimately why we do this and why we do the sport, because even us, this all emerge into it and we forget that we actually have other lives and just reset ourselves a little bit. And that is what we do. That is what we strive to do. And we say thank you for everybody who's believing in us. And I'm going to take immense pleasure in this next year by showing you what you're going to expect, what you're going to see, what you're going to eat, what you're going to feel and smell and be part of us. And so that you can truly, truly come and just have an African experience. We all know that there's an incredible heartbeat in Africa, and we're going to give that to you. So thank you so much. Stefan, anything from your side? And I know my husband's going to have, I know the route is incredible, man. I won't say anything about it. I just don't know how he's going to do the logistics, but thank you for everybody.
Yeah, look, I mean, in general, we strive for excellence. We try elaborate thought process on every aspect of any race. So we know we have a huge responsibility. We have all this trust that people put us. They give us money to do this. So it is utmost important for us to make sure that every little aspect is taken care of. So the fortunate thing is normally we open October and we have a race in May. Now we have open October, got 12 months. I don't know if you know that we separated as a family. We've been separate for the last year. Heidi and the kids have moved down to the coast. We moved the kids into a new school. I still have my medical practice in Johannesburg, and I spend 1 week on the route, 3 weeks and work. And next year I'll have to up it to maybe take a few months off work. But we have 1,500 kilometers between the two of us. So we're really all in on this event. And we want to assure the people that we want to make sure that from the moment you put your foot on that, arrive at the airport and the dancers are dancing for you till the night when you don't sleep before you take the bus, and nobody's allowed to sleep on the party night. We're going to think of every little aspect.
I don't doubt that at all. And I just want to thank you for all that you're doing, because it can't be easy. I didn't realize you were separated in different cities right now. That's got to be really challenging. But from my perspective, the 2 races we've done, it was a great juxtaposition of like feeling cared for, like taken care of, and being able to take some chances that we'd never, challenging ourselves to such lengths. So it was just a great combination of those 2 things. So thank you for that.
Yeah, and I guess I would say, out of the 2 races we've done, and we've done a lot of races internationally as well as in the States. I mean, you guys put on some of the best races we've ever done. The pomp and circumstance, the culture prior to the race, the after party is amazing. And then of course the race is dialed in. And you guys do races that the mid-pack teams can do without thinking they're going to die. But meanwhile, the front teams are super challenged. So a team that's never done a big race like this is a very safe way to do it, because you guys do have good attention to detail, and we feel safe other than the rhino that's walking down the road that jumped the fence.
It's all relative, right?
But yeah, relative. So thank you guys so much for taking the time to tell us all about the race. This has been super helpful. Again, for everybody, we were recording this. We'll process it and make it good and put a logo on it, and eventually have it on YouTube, both on our social media with Team ThisABILIty, but also Heidi and Stefan have tons of social media. They'll probably post it there as well. I think we've answered most of the questions in the chat, so I think we're good to go. I guess that's it. Thank you guys. And we'll keep the Zoom going if anybody wants to chat about the race or ask more questions, but I want to let Heidi and Stefan go. It's very late where they are. I think it's midnight. So let's let them go to bed. And again, thank you guys for taking the time to spend with us.
And also, I just want to say to everybody, we are here. Like I said, we custom help everybody really. Reach out to us, message us. I think we both maybe also a little bit of workaholics. And so yeah, we will answer and help you and as much as we can. So yeah, we and this is going on an incredible ride this year. So thank you. Stay fit, stay healthy, and yeah, reach out to us anytime.
Cool. Thank you guys.